Hello, viewers. So, welcome to this very interesting lecture on sustainable fishing. Now, what is sustainable fishing? Sustainable fishing refers to fishing practices that ensure the long-term health and productivity of fish populations and the marine ecosystem, while also considering the social and economic well-being of fishing communities. It moves beyond simply maintaining fish populations to include protecting the broader ecosystem and ensuring the viability of fish-dependent livelihoods. Now, I want to look at some sustainable fishing practices. One of such sustainable fishing practices is selective fishing. Using gear and techniques that minimize the capture of non-target species and juveniles is a very important selective fishing method, and that involves using nets that do not really have small mesh sizes that will avoid killing juvenile fishes or the fries. Then one other sustainable fishing practice is the establishment of catch limits. Implementing science-based catch limits to prevent overfishing and allow fishing populations to replenish is a very vital sustainable fishing practice we need to put into use. Then we also need to establish seasonal closures. Establishing periods when fishing is prohibited to protect spawning fish and allow populations to recover is a very vital way we can sustain the fish populations in our rivers, creeks, and ponds. Then we also need to exercise gear restrictions. Limiting the type and size of fishing gear used will help to minimize damage to habitats and reduce bycatch. Then we also need to avoid destructive practices, and that involves eliminating the use of explosives, poisons, and other harmful methods that can damage the marine environment. We should avoid the use of dynamites and other very harmful practices. One other sustainable fishing practice is to practice catch and release. We can release some organisms that are not supposed to be caught, like sea turtles, dolphins, and whales that get tangled in our nets. And scientists can also avoid the temptation of taking home some fish they had studied is to ethically they are expected to return them back to the river. Then we have to also look at the proper handling and storage of food of fish. That's a very important sustainable fishing practice. Ensuring fish are handled and stored properly to maintain quality and reduce wastage is a very important sustainable fishing practice. Now I want to look at one other very important aspect of sustainable fishing, which is monitoring and enforcement. Regularly monitoring fish populations and ensuring regulations to prevent illegal fishing and ensuring compliance with sustainable practices is a very key way of making sure that fishes are valuable for us now and also in the future. One other thing we need to do is stakeholders involvement. We need to get the stakeholders involved, and the stakeholders we're talking about are the fishermen, the community leaders, the government, the scientists, and the law enforcement agencies. All of these should be involved in decision making, and if we do that, the persons that are involved, the stakeholders, will be willing to comply with the sustainable fishing practices. One other thing we need to do is ecosystem-based management. Considering the interconnectedness of species and habitats in fisheries management would help to promote overall ecosystem health. Then we also need to establish marine protected areas, or MPAs. Establishing areas where fishing and other extractive activities are restricted would help to protect critical habitats and support fish populations. So it's a very key sustainable fishing practice. Then we also need to protect essential habitats like the spawning grounds of fish and nursery areas, such as the mud flats and the mangrove ecosystems can help to protect the fish populations. Then we also need to choose sustainably sourced seafoods. That involves selecting fish from fisheries that are certified and sustainable, or that use responsible fishing practices. That will encourage them to continue and also discourage those that are not practicing sustainable fishing. Then one other sustainable fishing practice is eating seasonal food. Choosing fish that are in season would help to reduce the pressure on the overfished population. So for instance, if it's the season of the bonga fish or the shiny nose or any other fish, we can decide to eat such fish instead of mounting pressure on fishes that are not in season. Then we can also reduce seafood consumption. We can decide to choose other source of proteins like beef, pork, or even chicken as an alternative source of protein, so that the pressure on fish population will also reduce. By implementing these practices, we can work together for a future where fishing will continue to provide fish for us and our children in the future. Thanks for watching. I am Dr. Gijo Harry. Please continue to watch my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channels, and do not forget to share and like my videos. Thank you.